Hello, everybody. Welcome to April's Regulated, Resilient, and Rested workshop. So today's workshop is about your breast health and how your breast health and working with your breasts are important to nervous system regulation, which is not something we usually talk about. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about this idea, and then I'm going to show you a practice that you can do on your own as often as you can. I do this practice, or at least pieces of the practice, every single time I do my Abhyanga, so a few times a week. And it definitely has changed my relationship with my breasts. And I also noticed that that intense tenderness that can come with PMS does subside as you practice this on a really regular basis. Okay, so according to Ayurveda, women have a subtle channel, so an energetic channel that runs from the breast all the way to the womb. And then it runs back up from the womb space to your breasts. So there's this energy cord that runs between these two areas of your body. It runs all the way around your armpit into this whole area down to the womb space. So this is also a lymphatic channel. So your lymph is that stuff that moves crap out of us. And in the breast, it can become stagnant, which we all know we do not want anything stagnant in our breasts. So it's a lymphatic channel, but it's also a subtle energetic channel. So because this space in our body is so sacred, and there's this subtle and lymphatic channel here, it can get stagnant. And when it gets stagnant in this whole area of your body, it also moves down, the stagnation moves downstream to your womb space. If there's stagnation in your womb space, it moves up river to create stagnation in the lymph of your breast tissue. So it's really important that we move this lymph. We move this stagnant energy. So we're moving this on a physical level, obviously, like the lymph is a very physical thing. The energy is subtle, so not quite as obvious as the lymph, but it's also very, very emotional. We hold so much emotion in our breasts, in our wombs, which makes total sense, right? And it's not surprising that this is connected to our mothers. So I want you to take just a minute and think about, what was your mom's relationship to her breasts? How did she talk about them? How did she show them? Did she cover them? What did she say about them? What did she not say? What did she teach you? So how your mom or that your primary female caregiver connected to her breasts is the information that we often carry with us about how we feel about our breasts. So my mom had quite large breasts, and it was like she covered them. It was an embarrassment. There was a lot of shame around it in a weird way. My grandma, who was super, super, super Catholic, her mom also had quite large breasts. Her mom, she bought this wedding dress that was like a sweetheart wedding dress, and her mom made them put a piece of material to cover all the way up to here. It was like her neck. She had like almost a mini little mock turtleneck, I guess. So this idea that cover them, you don't want to show them off. This is a very sexual, sensual part of your body that we must remain modest, was sort of those messages that I got from my family. So just think about what messages did you get from your mom around breasts, and what was her relationship with them? Maybe they were really small. Maybe she loved to show them off. My grandma was so funny because she was, this uber conservative Catholic lady, and she would wear tank tops, not tank tops, tube tops in the summertime. And it was just like we were like, wow, this is so weird that she did that. But then in her older years, I remember saying, we're like, Grandma used to wear tube tops. And she's like, I never would have done that. We're all like, oh yes, we remember this, because we're all like, what is going on with Grandma? So just thinking about, what is your history with that? These are things we don't think about all that often. So now think about, what is your relationship with your breasts? And how has this changed across your lifetime? Of course, our relationship with our breasts changed. If you have been, or you are a breastfeeding mom, if you've had breast cancer, if you've had mammograms that are questionable, if you have a family history of breast cancer, if you're cystic, if you've got fibrous breasts, if they're too small or too big, all these things can change how we feel about our breasts. So just think about that for a moment. What is your relationship with your breasts? How do you speak to them? Do you speak to them? Do you get frustrated with how they fit in shirts and sweaters, and how bras work and all that? Do you not wear a bra? Like, what are your relationship with them? Just noticing that dialogue, saggy, perky, pointy, big, small, like all the things that we can say about them. So how are you judging them? Do you wish they were bigger? Do you wish they were smaller? And, where do these judgments come from? Whose voice is that in your head? Like, if I'm wearing, like right now, even wearing this, like, because I'm going to talk about, I want you to see my chest when I'm doing this. So it's just like, I still have a little grandma voice in my head, like, oh my God, don't have cleavage in front of clients. Like, what are you doing? So I'm always like very aware of that. And that is her voice. Or, there's that, or is it some idiot from high school or middle school who said something about breasts to you? I had this kid that I went to high school with. His name was Rich Scott, so I still remember. He was a very good friend of mine from grade school through high school, and he's no longer on this earth anymore, but we would have like practically like girl talks. And I remember him saying to me once, Heather's are so perky, and yours is like you could tuck them into your socks. I carried that with me into adulthood, and probably spent way too much money on water bras. Any of y'all are from my generation, the Victoria's Secret water bra or the push-up bra, for my whole life. It was not until having babies and even learning about this work, this tantric and Ayurvedic breast work. So think about it. What are the messages that you've heard from other people? And maybe it's not even a direct comment like that I experienced. Maybe it's from TV, media, magazines, like anything. Like, what are the messages that you've received that you've sort of internalized? And now, one last question I want you to consider and really think deeply about this is, who are your breasts for? Who are they for? I asked my daughter this question, and she answered exactly with what I'm going to share with you, which was like, wow, okay, she's 17 years old, and she's got this, she knows what the cultural perspective on women's breasts are. So essentially, our culture has taught us that our breasts are for two groups of people, and that is for feeding our children and pleasing other people. And then there's also a third piece that my daughter sort of tapped into today that is true. Women can use them to get what they want. They're powerful. They are powerful. So it's like, are they ever for us? And of course, that's what we're going to get to today. So our breasts ideally are for feeding people and pleasing people, and we can also use them to manipulate and get what we want, get attention. And that's what she said. She's like, breasts get you attention. I'm like, yeah, they do. And sometimes it's not so great, right? I've had lots of friends who have incredibly large breasts, and it's just like, it's like, my eyes are up here, right? It's all about that. So Ayurveda and Tantra do not agree with what our culture says. Of course, not surprising. They say our breaths are ultimately to chill you out and make you feel good. They exist to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. They exist to augment your sense of pleasure and safety in the world. And pleasure and safety go hand in hand. You're not feeling pleasure if you're not feeling safe. You have to have safety to experience pleasure. And your breaths are a part of you experiencing safety and pleasure. So the purpose of the breast is first, pleasure, yours and no one else's. And secondly, to calm down your nervous system. So I know if you're breastfeeding mom right now, you're like, yeah, right. No, right now, they're 100% for baby. And so that is obviously an important and very, very important thing. But that's just for this little tiny bit of time in the big picture of your life, right? So this concept that is for our pleasure and soothing our nervous system is essential premise of tantric breast care. Okay, I'm gonna sneeze, maybe. But the breast can be, when it comes to pleasure and safety, the breast can be a place in our body that feel really dangerous and scary because we do get pain. We get cysts, we get fibroids, and we also, many of us know when we're PMSing because our breasts get sore, or if you are in the perimenopausal boat, that breast tenderness is intense and real for some women. And then, of course, there's tumors and breast cancer. So while our breasts in this culture are for pleasing other people or feeding our children, they're also this scary and potentially deadly, dangerous area. So that's another piece in our culture that while the breasts are these amazing things, it's also like, holy shit, these could also kill me, right? So it's easy to be scared of our breasts. And of course, if you have a family lineage of breast cancer, it totally makes sense that you would be fearful. And it's really good that we have this information, that we have to take care of them, that we have to get our yearly mammograms, do our self-massage. But those things are not necessarily coming from this space of pleasure and nervous system soothing. It's coming from a place of fear. And the practice that I want to share with you today will help you know what's going on with your breasts all the time. You'll get to, you're going to ideally take this practice and, like I said, do this, definitely a few times a week. So you just start to know your breasts really, really well. And also move that stagnant lymph, move that stagnant energy, and start to release and release the emotions that are held in this part of your body. So ideally, this practice is going to increase your level of intimacy with yourself and knowing your breasts and knowing your breast tissue inside and out, and knowing like, oh, I tend to get this like sort of fibrous little thing here when I'm PMSing and then it goes away, or, whatever it is. So a thing to remember, like I said, the breast can hold a lot of emotion. So when we work with the breast today, and as you sort of get used to this practice, you might have some emotion come up. And that's okay. Just allow yourself to be with that emotion, let it move through you. So you're letting this emotion move through you, but you're also letting yourself receive the tenderness and the love that you're giving yourself. So ideally, when you do this massage, ideally you would do this massage like spend like 15 to 20 minutes at least once a week. And then, like I said, I just do like bits and pieces of it every time I do my Abhyanga practice. Or you could just keep a little bottle of castor oil in your shower and just do a few things, just like really moving just having it as a regular practice. Another thing about this that I can't forget to mention is that breast massage helps you to balance hormones. So no matter what's going on with your hormones, this will help balance it. In addition to getting that lymph moving that stagnant energy, and that kind of thing. It also helps to soften your heart. We are, as women, we're so used to having to like be armored and more masculine, and that doesn't serve us. So like having that soft, open heart, but also the strength, our boundaries, of course, but that helps to ease some of the unnecessary armoring that we put around our heart. Okay, so when you do this practice, ideally you are in a warm, safe, quiet space where you can have your shirt off, your bra off. I usually do this practice on my bathroom floor in front of my heater while doing my Abhyanga practice. So that being said, you'll need some type of oil to work with. I have this salve from my doctor, but I also often just use my Abhyanga oil. There's also a breast salve from Banyan Botanicals, and I'll link that. That's infused with herbs that help support breast health and move that stagnant stuff in the breast area. You can also use, if you don't have Abhyanga oil, you can use olive oil, sesame oil, like I mentioned, castor oils are a good option. Coconut oil, also another good option. Also, if you don't have oil, you can use lotion. Just try to use a lotion that's relatively clean. You don't want to add a bunch of toxic crap into this part of your body. Like preservatives and all the things like artificial fragrances and all that stuff. You don't really want that. You don't want to introduce to these places which are already so sensitive and tender. So get a really clean lotion if you don't want to use an oil, but oils are going to be the best thing. So like I said, I do this when I'm doing my Abhyanga practice, and then I jump in the shower. So doing it before you shower, before you bathe, or you can just keep the oil in the shower and just like do it while you're standing in the shower. Not a big deal. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm cramping my foot. I'm sitting on it. I'm going to show you how to do this very briefly. And when you're doing it, like I said, this whole practice can take about 15 to 20 minutes, or it can be brief, but I'm just going to kind of show you the movements. And then, when you're doing this on your own time, spend more time, 2-3 minutes on each movement. There's about 7 of them. What we'll do is you're gonna take your oil or your balm if you decide to order the breast balm. You just, start with a little bit, put a little oil on your hands and really kind of warm it up. I have the heater in my bathroom, so I'll like sometimes just like put my hands here. This is a tank that I was just doing yard work in and don't really care about. And this isn't a traditional part of the practice, but it's something that I like to do just to sort of soften and relax the breast area. So first we're just gonna take some time to massage your neck and your shoulders. It's just like doing whatever feels good here. Just lovely. Just like how often this alone is just so helpful. So in this part, you're just kind of doing whatever feels good. But a couple of things I want you to ensure that you add into this practice to help the lymph move, because your head drains lymph down into this little pump over here. You want that to move and drain down and go out, not drain down into here. So if you find you've got this like really strong muscle here, you just make little like upside down U's going all the way up to your ear. And then, like I said, you can stay here for longer. This is an abbreviated practice. Oh, that actually feels really good. So then, to pump that lymph through, you want to find your collarbones here. And you want to push them in, just straight and gently 10 times. 10, 15 times. That helps that pump remove the lymph and get it moving. So you do that 10 times or so. And then just kind of let one ear drop. And I just had a bunch of pops in my upper spine. Like I said, I was just out doing yard work. Just letting the ears drop, letting the shoulder drop. Take the eyes down to the shoulder that's dropping, that your ear is moving towards. Or do that on the other side because I didn't look down. Okay. Now come back to center and let's just take a moment. Just take a moment and take a breath into the heart center. Taking all of your awareness into the heart and the breasts. And I'm briefly just setting an intention for this practice. And it can be as easy as just offering your breasts love and compassion and gratitude for being there. And even if you've had a mastectomy, you can still do this work and you could still set this intention, just work gently. You still have, even though you may not have the actual breast tissue, you still have the subtle channels. So just letting your attention be down in this place in your body. Okay, so we're going to move ahead and I'm going to warn you, I'm going to be touching my breasts. So if that makes you feel uncomfortable, then maybe you can just read the instructions and go from there. I've tried to be very detailed with them so you kind of understand what's happening. But the first thing we're going to do is just gently, you're just grabbing your breasts. And, obviously I would not have a shirt on or a bra when I'm doing this, but just gently, just like rolling your breasts. You just like hold them and you go one way and then you go the other. And you do that for a few minutes, channeling all your attention into this space. So I just kind of go one way and then I go the other way a couple times. And then take a moment after you've done that for a couple minutes and just notice any prana and any energy that's existing or moving in that part of your body. And like I said, I'm moving through this pretty quickly. So ideally, you'll do this once a week where you can be really conscious and take your time and take, a moment to just really feel into what's going on after each practice. Always noticing any sensations or thoughts or emotions, anything that comes up. Okay. Now you're going to take your finger pads and you're going to make just these little circles and be sure to get all the way up to the clavicle. I even like to go further, but you're massaging all around the breast area in these little tiny circles underneath. You can use both hands. You could just use one. Be sure to get the armpit, the space here, massaging all around here at the side. If you find a spot that feels good, stay there. Underneath. And then you do the other side as well. Just little tiny circles. So you've got just little circles here. And you're doing that all over your breast. And don't forget your nipple. Your nipple is really important too. Getting underneath here, getting the whole armpit, and like down here along the side of the breast. Just little tiny circles. And you find that spot that feels kind of good. Stay there. Being sure to get this whole part. Okay. So doing what you feel good with that one. You're not pressing you're not like, so you're not giving yourself this heavy-handed massage. You're just gently doing these little circles. It should never hurt. It might hurt so good, and that's okay. So just doing that. Always doing this with loving awareness. Okay. And you want to go, one way and then kind of go the other. Okay. Next one is you're going to make more circles, but it's going to be a little more specific. So this time you're like really consciously lifting the breasts and then pulling them apart and then letting them come down, and then lift and then pull and then come down, and then you lift and go the other way. So lift, pull, and go the other way. Okay. Doing that several times. And then rest after that one. And again, notice what you're feeling. Notice the prana that arises in your chest, your breasts, the armpits. Maybe you feel it down into the womb space. Just noticing that. And allow yourself this whole time to receive. Okay, knuckling. This one's actually kind of one of my favorites. So it sounds like exactly what it is. You're just taking your knuckles and you're doing little circles. It's just kind of like the little finger pad one. So you're doing little circles. Again, armpit, side, this whole breast area. Be sure to get into the nipple. And like I said, I'm doing this really fast. This is not how I do this when I'm doing this sitting in my bathroom floor. Get all the way around. You're going to start to notice some color on your skin. It's going to start to get a little red, which is good. That means there's stuff moving. Okay. All right, and then just taking a moment after you've done that, notice how you're feeling. Do you feel more at ease? Do you feel calmer, energized, more aware, anxious? So just taking a bit of time to notice. All of this is going to be on the PDF, so you can take this into your bathroom and like read this. And this little things like, okay, take a moment. Energized, aware, that kind of stuff. All right, karate chop. This one, pay attention to this because it was kind of hard to explain it as I was writing it, but you're going to have one hand, top of the breast, thumb against the chest wall, other hand underneath, and you're literally just doing this back and forth. Man, it is lovely underneath here today for me for some reason. And then do the opposite side. And you're going back and forth, karate chopping. Okay. So it's kind of like your breasts are like crushed in between here. Okay. Again, you're going to get some nice color. And you do this, gently, just kind of going back and forth. Stay in there for a few minutes. Oof, so good. Okay. And then be sure to do both sides. Okay, and then there's pinching. And this is you're just taking little tiny pinches all around the breast. All around the breast. Again, pinching, pinching the nipple, doing both sides, all the way up to the collarbone. Now that feels good too. Pinching. Like I said, I was just out doing yard work, so I'm like, oh, I needed this. So again, moving super fast. you'd spend a couple minutes doing that, never having it hurt. It should just kind of maybe sort of like over here, it's like, oh, kind of hurts so good. Possibly from the pull-ups I was doing at the gym the other day, but oh, that's good. Okay. Getting to know your breasts really well by working them in this way. Always pleasurable, not painful. Okay, and the last one is the squish and squeeze. I didn't know what else to call it. I don't know what they call it in Tantra, but I'm gonna call it the squish and squeeze. This one kind of makes you feel like you're milking yourself, but you're really just kind of taking it and squeezing, squeezing gently, squeezing gently, squish and squeeze, squish and squeeze, squish and squeeze up into the armpit, the muscles, squish and squeeze, squish, squeeze. Okay. So yeah, you kind of feel like it's like you're working a toothpaste out or something, or milking yourself. Be sure to like get a good job. Squeeze this. You can even squeeze this like side here. Ah, okay. Nice deep breath. So that's it. That is the practice. But when you're finished, because ideally when you do it Abhyanga, and of course, one more thing, as you're going through the practice, feel free to get more oil, get more salve, do whatever you need to do. You don't have to, I just use that one little bit to kind of just demonstrate how I use it. But notice the coloring, notice any emotions that have come up for you during this, notice kind of how they look, and the whole time being aware of how your body and your nervous system and your emotions are responding. Just becoming aware. Just as I did this, I definitely feel more tingling in this whole area. Like even like up here, it's just like there's a little zingy in my body. So just noticing that. Noticing if you start crying, or maybe you might even have a memory or something come up. It's all welcome. And of course, bring any questions you have to me about this. Anything that comes up around this, let me know. Okay, that's all for today. Namaste.